Hitman Tails on informant. Tails informant. Little Durk owes him money.
Episode of EOS is 1090 Jake. For the confusion out there, this isn't Durk's case.
Talking about better listen to him, Kobe.
The United States.
No, you better listen to this. Don't be like Durk.
Powell, aka Marley. This is Marley, this handsome young guy from Chicago.
Marley.
Yeah,
Marley don't look like he like it in there.
Of Stephon Mack, right? So I'm assuming Stephon Mack is here, and these two guys are firing out of a vehicle. Clearly, this skinny dude isn't this one, so this has to be Bigums over here. And
called that nigga Bigums.
Yeah, you know, this is how he takes his pictures. You see him on Tinder. He's like, yeah, you know, ladies, I'm single. This is how he looks. This is Marley right here.
That's how Marley be taking his pictures
with his participation in this killing, right? And Elma Fudd over here is AJ. This would be AJ. Now we're gonna get into AJ, but let's jump into the paperwork real quick, right? The introduction. The government previously moved for use of the entirety of co-defendant Anthony Montgomery Wilson's recorded statements.
That nigga be in the camera with two guns right in our face.
Now, like, Anthony is AJ, Powell is Marley, right? And we're just gonna get right into it. By way of this submission, the government proposes that the court allow for the admission of 3 limited excerpts. So they're introducing these 3 things speaking on this murder, right? And up here it would say the excerpts simply show that Montgomery Wilson's motivation for killing Mack was to collect a cash bounty that had been put out for Mack's murder by individual A and his associates with OTF. Individual A is obviously Lil Durk. Now the first excerpt would state, in this excerpt, AJ explained to the confidential source that the bounty for killing Youngin, which was Mac's nickname, was 70 grand.
Damn.
And that AJ tried to get the amount increased to 90. AJ, next thing you know, that's a dub. Reminds me, we was having a conversation, shorty. Ken told me like, shit, he a 70 ball right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna try to get him to go to a 90. We trying to get 90 out of him for this shit. Confidential source. For a motherfucker, AJ. For Youngin. Excerpt 2. In this excerpt,
we got too much info. These niggas is dumb.
Individual A, aka Durk, contributed $50,000 to the bounty for killing Mack, AJ only collected a portion of those funds. AJ, look, Jam, this what Jam told Didi. I mean, he told Bondo. Like, Bug, he say, man, Durk gave up 50, shorty. He only paid me a dub, so it's 30 missing. Remind you, I'm locked up. So he's saying
this
Durk
nigga already
50,
locked up,
but he only got paid 20, and 30,000 is missing. And in this excerpt, AJ would explain to the confidential source
like,
that
why are
he
you
approximately $40,000 for killing Mack. Confidential source. So altogether, you got 35. AJ, 35,000, and then another 5 from JD and them, which they supposed to gave me 100, shorty. They really owe me 100,000. These 3 limited excerpts exclusively concern AJ's admissions to the confidential source that he killed Mack to collect a payment that had been offered by Durk and his associates for the murder. The statements were clearly against AJ's interests and are independently corroborated by other evidence. These 3 limited excerpts are highly probative of the 4 higher components of Mack's murder, and their admission would not be unfairly prejudicial to Powell, right? Now, Powell is basically arguing against what AJ said because, you know, AJ is obviously making it look like, hey, you know, we did this because they paid us to do this. That's why we did it. The 3 limited excerpts from AJ's recorded statements to the confidential source provide critical context for those text messages. Now, this is the text. Powell, what's up with OTF?
Text messages.
Nothing. Powell, what you mean? They not paying? AJ, we waiting. He comes up here on the 17th. Powell, aight. Like, now on February 17, 2022, Durk was in Chicago conducting a podcast interview which AJ attended. That day, Powell texted AJ, stand on that while you with Durk them. The following day, Powell texted AJ, did Durk give you that money? This is very important. It's stating that
That
Durk
nigga
was in
Powell, he
Chicago
was on it.
to do a podcast interview. And AJ, who had already killed Mac, showed up. And Marley's telling him, make sure you stand on that. Tell Durk we need that money. Right? So AJ shows up and is supposed to ask Durk for this money for this killing. And it just so happens the podcast is $1 million worth of game. Now, the paperwork states the interview was conducted on February 22nd. And this interview would drop March 10th, 2022, giving time for editing or whatever else. But this wasn't the only thing recorded that day. Durk's music video, Aha, was also recorded that day in the same studio space. And the interview along with Durk's new song, Aha, would drop on the same day, February 22nd. Now, the funny thing about this, right, is he brought $1 million cash to $1 million worth of game.
And shook.
And apparently, in the background of this video is not only the leader of Mike City, the gang, but AJ, who's a member of Mike City. Now, within the federal paperwork, they would show a picture from the Aha music video, and a man's face would be blurred out. And then, obviously, Reddit's going to do what Reddit's going to do. But this is supposedly the leader of Mike City. And AJ can be seen in the background of the music video. Stephon Max Killer AJ from Mike City was at Lil Durk's Aha music video shoot. The same video that he dropped less than a month after Stephon died, and he was claiming he got back for D-Thang and got someone's folks hit. So again, this whole murder took place because Stephon Mac allegedly had something to do with D-Thang's brother getting killed outside of a club. And then the music video would drop, people would stop putting the pieces together, but the feds haven't indicted Durk for this murder. These two guys have been indicted. And these two guys are apparently throwing Durk's name around, or at least AJ is. And the feds looked at everything. So Durk did a podcast interview. AJ was in attendance. While AJ's in attendance, Marley's telling him to press Durk about the fucking money they're owed, while there's $1 million sitting on the table in front of him. But again, the most important thing to take away from this situation is this doesn't have shit to do with Durk's case. I see the blogs talking about it all over the place, and a lot of people are thinking that this is gonna bury Durk deeper or have an effect on him. Durk is not indicted on this murder. Durk has nothing to do with this fucking case. This is just them saying, oh, Durk was supposed to pay us. Marley saying, go press Durk. At no point in time does it say he said anything to Durk. At all. At no point in time does anybody say Durk actually exchanged any fucking money. They're naming everybody else. That's the thing. They're trying to tie Durk into all of these situations, but nobody is actually saying Durk did this, Durk did that, and there's no proof of it actually even happening. So keep that in mind when you hear these things. But as far as these two guys go, there seems to be a ton of evidence against them regarding this murder. They're trying to say the intent was because they were getting paid. Apparently, they didn't get paid the full amount. So keep that in mind. All you young ones out there that want to go out here and catch hats, this and that. Dudes is allegedly saying they got 70 on their head, 100 on their head. None of these people are getting paid. What was the situation with Young Dolph? He had however much on his head, and they allegedly got paid like $500. You better off just getting a regular job. You don't have to crash to get cash. You could download the free Cash app. It's just, people talk good. Things sound good. But if you think 100,000 is just gonna land on your lap, and then this dude's in jail trying to get some bail. He said